You're listening to RIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out RIARadio.com. Welcome to RIA Radio. This is the OT, and this is your Monday recap here until you guys come up with a better idea for a name for us.
Guys, I got to say, we're a little disappointed with the output here of our ask to give us a Monday segment name. We need one.
Yeah, we need one. And we got
we're
so many goodies we want to give away.
We're generically floating around here with no name, no identity. Come on. Need some suggestions here.
We thought this would be fun. We thought we'd get a lot of feedback. I mean, I was expecting to at least cipher through about 5,000 or 6,000 ideas.
Exactly. All right, get on it, people. All right, enough with the pity party.
Otherwise, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to come up with anything for us.
ChatGPT is like your best buddy. He's like the movie Ted.
Tell me you didn't like the show notes that I prepared for Wednesday's episode.
They were insightful.
There we go. See?
Delightful. All the stupid words that ChatGPT tries to plug in that nobody actually uses in real life.
I just tell it to dumb it down for me.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
So tell me about your week. Have you met with anybody fun, exciting, anybody intriguing besides Alex Pardo?
Well, I took a little trip this past week. I went to visit 3 buddies of mine in southern Indiana. Well, they live in Indianapolis, so we do this golf trip. I try to do it about every year. Didn't get to make it last year, but anyway, flew in, saw them. We drove down to Louisville, which I've never been to. Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, pretty. Have you ever been there?
No.
Pretty cool downtown area. They have a spot called 4th Street. That's kind of like most bigger city downtown areas. You know, a lot of cool shops, and they had a nice vibe going there.
Was there like a Trump store on every corner?
I don't recall that, but there were those little, you know how they have those, what we have one in this strip mall, don't we? You get the like little commercial bay and it'll be like so-and-so like fundraising for the election or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's designated to a Republican or Democrat or whatever.
When I was in Ozarks area, like every other corner had a Trump store.
Oh yeah.
And then they had like the ones that did the tarot reading cards, and the tarot cards, the tarot reading cards.
Tarot?
Tarot?
Tarot.
Okay, well that
tarot cards,
the tarot cards, and then they put.
I like playing with tarot cards when I'm eating my filet mignon.
But anyway, they actually replaced the guy that was inside of it, with Donald Trump.
Oh, did they have like a mannequin or something with the orange hair? Nice.
It was totally him. It was like, and then my son just thought that everything was funny. He's like, "Why is everything here Trump?" And I was like, "Welcome to the South."
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, it's funny wherever you're at is starkly different political views, but we try to shy away from that a little bit on RIA Radio here. We are neutral somewhat, at least on air. And anyway, so the trip was awesome. I went to Bloomington, Indiana, and played a course there called FAU, P-F-A-U, one of the toughest courses I've ever played. It was crazy. So we hit that, drove back, played in a tournament. It was just a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Catching up. Yeah. Seeing some old friends. Had a beer yesterday with Michael Kramer, Luke Kramer, and
the whole fam, huh?
Yeah. And then their business partner, Alex, who recently moved to Omaha about 3 months ago from New Orleans, actually. So that was a pretty cool meeting. We just talked about real estate and lending and multifamily, scaling up, mindset, all that fun stuff.
Where are they moving? Where are they going from this point?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, they are looking to expand their fundraising that they're doing and looking at different asset classes and places where they can put money for the best returns for their investors. So that's basically what they're doing. Kind of the private equity space we talked a lot about.
I have I believe it's in about a month. I have him speaking at our RIA group.
Oh, great!
And I'm super excited about that.
Yeah,
he's just mind blowing the way he talks, and I think people are definitely want to learn more about him. So I expect a pretty good turnout.
We'll have to if we can find out a link for this. But he told me yesterday that he's actually flying to California to be interviewed by Chris Voss. Oh. So awesome. He actually, and I said, "Are you sure he sent it to the right Michael Kramer?" Because I thought he had a different Michael Kramer that he liked better. Anyway, so yeah, that was my week. What about you? Anything new and exciting?
Well, it'd be exciting. We get Chris Voss on the podcast.
It would.
yeah, so we need to hit Michael up for that connect, make that happen.
Yep.
Get that deal. But yeah, exciting. I sat down with Michael Freed, our first
episode 1.
and technically episode 2 if you go back. So we have the origin story as episode 1.
That's right. That's right. Episode 2.
Yeah, and so he's definitely progressing. He took a W-2 job on as back in the electrician world and making a ton of money.
Yeah.
like doctor money. And then on top of that, he's really gone into the Oxford homes, which is the sober living homes. And he has I think he's got 3 separate business partner groups for funds that he's oversees now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like life is easy. He goes, as soon as I started getting into the sober living homes, he goes, it took all the pressure off my shoulders. And yeah, so he's been really excited with the progress and everything that he's been doing there.
That's good. I was thinking about this Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday this week. Yeah, it had been Wednesday. I just had some things that at times just seem insurmountable, like getting my, everybody files an extension for your tax returns if you're in real estate investing, like everybody does.
I saw my accountant yesterday.
Yeah. And so I've been like really trying to get mine done because I don't know about you, but what happens to me is like sometime usually end of April, beginning of May, like all the banks that I do business with or like just different financial people that are involved, they're always like, hey, can I get your 2023 tax return and your updated PFS and your rent roll? And like those things take a lot of time when you have assets. And I'm just like, I filed an extension. And they just keep asking you for it. And then finally I have to I'm refinancing a couple of properties that I have quite a bit of equity in. And the one bank where I took this is like, we need we have to have your PFS and your return for 2023 before we can do it. So I'm like scrambling, trying to get all my K1s and like, am I missing anything? Just like my bookkeeping's been done for a while, but the different returns and K1s and all that need to be rolled up into my personal return. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, guys, where are we at on this? Like I'm freaking out. And so finally, I've had that going on. And then like some other things that have been like big, heavy lifts that have taken a long time to do, just different stuff. And I got a big chunk of that off my plate and figured out. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, Jen, finally feel pretty good. I'm like, we're in a good spot. Things are going to be really good here. This has been a tough year. Mm-hmm. We're going to be in a really good spot here in like a week, 2 weeks, something like that. Right. Real estate's good. Life's good.
I'm sensing a but.
Yesterday. So that was Wednesday. Yesterday's Thursday. I wake up. Immediately stuff starts going sideways, like right off the bat. Like I have texts on my phone. It's like I'm up at 5:30, right? Mm-hmm. I've already got texts. I've already got emails. I've already got like all this stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? And I have an Airbnb guest, of course. So I run over to this. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go do that first. After the kids go off to school, I'm going to run over there first, knock that out, go to the gym. Then I have like meeting, conference call, like all this crap. So I run over there and like the trash is way overflowing. Like there's all this stuff outside. And so I'm like, oh my God. And then come to find out like the tub is clogged. The AC, it was 86 degrees when I walk in there. And they're
in your Airbnb?
Yeah, inside the unit. Oh. And they're checking in like 4 hours. Yeah. And then the vacuum I was just like, I'm trying to do all this stuff myself just quickly. I was just going to do a quick once through, make sure nothing was bad. And I just ended up over there for like 2 hours. I'm taking out the trash, getting mad at people for flicking cigarette butts. I'm just like that, get off my lawn guy, and then, so anyway, so all that happened. Then a whole bunch of other crap happened. And then, I was meeting like Colin Schwartz and Brandon Tauber and those two at a couple of properties where we're doing a walkthrough of some multifamily. And no sooner than I get out of my truck, and Colin's like, and I almost said it first. Colin's like, God, I hate real estate. And it was just funny because like the day before I'm like singing its praises and all happy, and then next day, nope, boom, just knocked to the ground. It's just so. It's comical.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah, hills and valleys.
Hills and valleys. Yesterday, I needed to get my K1, and I did, for some reason, somebody at some point in my life told me that if your LLC had no income coming in, that and you're just getting started, you don't need to file it.
Okay.
So I got this LLC started at the end of the year last year, and and we didn't have any income coming in. We had an asset that we purchased, and but it didn't become active until this month.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so I don't need to. I'm fine. I don't need to worry about that because it was in my opinion, inactive. For the most part. And then hitting my account up because I got a line of credit set up, and I got a refinance coming, and both of them want my 2023 taxes, just like you just stated. So now I'm like, go, just like you just stated. And they're like, oh, where's your K1? And I'm like, well, we didn't do anything last year, so we're good. And like, no, you have to file that. And so it's like, I believe it's a $300 fine for every month from April for each person because we didn't do extension on it.
Huh.
So we're gonna try to say, we're gonna say, hey, well, this was, they said you get kind of like 1 gale jail free card with the new LLC, and so we're gonna say, hey, this is inactive with nothing going on. They said that they'll call me. IRS will call me about this, and I'll have to explain it to them. But they should just say you're good this one time and waive it off.
Huh.
And I was just talking to somebody recently, and they're like, yeah, we went 3 years forgetting to do one LLC, and they waived off all 3 years because it was a LLC that wasn't active. They didn't know.
Oh, an inactive one with no business activity.
But it was on. And so they actually were facing 3 years of fines for every partner.
Oh, geez. Well, I've mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I got audited this year for the first time, and that really sucked. But what I found out was the reason they did was because I had a K1 that I just overlooked, or it got stuck in a stack of papers in the mail or something like that, or tossed. I don't know, because I just missed it. It was for like $3,000 in income, and that triggered an audit. So yeah, it's funny you say that because literally today, I thought it was all done on Wednesday, and literally today I get a bookkeeper that sends me a note, and they're like, "Hey, we're missing your K1 for XYZ LLC," and I'm like, "What?" And now I'm like, oh crap, did I get everything? I go, listen, send me a whole list of all my LLC or all my K1s and returns that you have, and that way I can go back and verify, because I'm not missing anything, so I'm not doing this again next year.
See, that's my biggest fear right now.
I know.
It's because
you've been through the big A word too, haven't you?
Yeah, but I was in my 20s, and it was a totally different thing.
Yeah,
and life's different now, and I really don't want to go through all that.
I do, and I hear you. Well, I have kind of a golden nugget. This is not related to what we just talked about, but this is in the vein of financing. And when you're trying to basically take down a deal with hard money or some other type of short-term financing, right? Not all hard money lenders are like this, but so I have a hard money lending business, and we're known for locally here doing 100% of loan to cost. So if you have something under contract and it pencils out, and we feel the deal is underwritten well, and your project is going to be successful, then we'll loan up to 100% of the purchase price, right? We've done that over and over and over again. But what we found is, well, not what we found, but what happens sometimes, especially with a little more inexperienced investors, is they don't plan appropriately for soft costs. And soft costs are those costs that you're not physically doing to the property itself. If you're rehabbing, that is your hard costs are your construction and remodeling dollars that you're spending, right? Soft costs are going to be insurance, property taxes, utilities, lawn care, snow removal, and interest. So if you're paying interest on a hard money loan, you have to make sure and underwrite that, because hard money is expensive. And if you happen to be off on your projected timeline that you're going to own that property before you either refinance or sell it, and you're off by, say, 2 months, that could end up being several $1,000s, and that could be a fair percentage of your profit. So my point is, don't forget or don't sleep on the soft costs. Make sure you have that as part of your project pro forma. Like when you're looking at buying a deal, make sure you got those nailed down, and give yourself a buffer of, I would recommend a couple extra months. And here's the other big gotcha. When you're looking to do the BRRRR method, so buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, a lot of people like to borrow or buy with hard money. They'll do the work, then they'll refinance out of it into a regular conforming loan at a bank, typically, right? What happens sometimes is you're on the back end of this. So you buy the property, you do the work, and then you're getting ready to refinance it. And what happens if your appraisal comes in low?
Yeah.
Have you had this happen?
No, but I just had a conversation with a client this week that bought a property through hard money.
Yeah.
It was a steal of a deal, home run, crazy rents. and his credit score isn't where it needs to be. The appraisal came about $10,000 less than what it is, even though it's still it's like a great deal. And so now he's stuck in this hard money loan, and now he needs to list it, and he's paying all these penalties. I think it's actually to you, and and he's paying all these penalties.
Well, I don't know who this is. I'm not singling anybody out, but I'm just giving.
I know you don't, and I want it that way. And so he's now stuck in this great property with great tenants. That accomplished all the goals, and his credit score isn't where it needs to be, so he needs to put more money down to get the deal, and he doesn't have the money down because he's paying all the fines and penalties because he's now held the property for well over a year.
Yeah. To put a bow on this topic, though, you need to have a backup plan for if the refinance does not go according to plan. And also, of course, if the property doesn't sell for what you think.
Always have 3 exit plans.
Yeah. And the thing about flipping is you're out of the deal when you sell it. And even if like, let's say you bought it for 100% loan to cost, but you put your own money into it, you should be able to recoup at least, obviously what your loan amount is going to be for the hard money loan. So you're not going to run into the equity shortage problem. Whereas if you are trying to BRRRR, these are a lot more tricky now, especially with interest rates being where they're at. And, so if you're off on your underwriting of that deal and you're going to refinance it, have a plan for what goes on in your life if you don't refinance at the level you thought and you were off on your numbers. You got to have a backup plan for paying that down, because then you're stuck. So you may have to sell it, or you may have to like borrow from somewhere else to pay off the hard money loan, which is what you should do. Whatever you got to do to get out of the high interest rate.
Yeah, you just got. You got to plan. Like my goal always with hard money is to try to be in and out of it in less than 3 months.
Exactly.
That's
a good plan.
That's always the goal.
So that was today's
Golden Nugget. And this Golden Nugget is brought to you by JM Real Estate Capital.
Hi, it's Rob, JM Real Estate Capital. We're the money guys that you need to know for all your real estate investments. Talk to us. We can do what your local bank can't or won't do. We don't have millions. We have trillions with a T to lend. 844 we close, or go online, jmrecapital.com. That's jmrecapital.com. JM Real Estate Capital, smart solutions for the real estate investor.
Hey, well, in the news today or this week, 2 to 3% inflation rates. We're finally getting down to that rate, which the Fed is coming out and said that they are looking to finally drop. And there's a lot of rumors that we are going to be potentially looking at a 0.5-point drop in September. What's your thoughts on that?
I think they're usually intentionally vague. Powell came on and said that they have a clear direction that they're heading. And I think the jobs report, the revision,
big revision,
huge revision downward.
1 million, right?
Yeah, it was 800 and some change. I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, huge revision downward. So when you look at the macroeconomic scope of the United States, the Fed has some control over monetary policy by their adjustments to interest rates and what they're doing with the money supply and so on and so forth, right? But when they don't like to be pigeonholed to say we are going to cut rates in next month. But yeah, from what he said, reading between the lines, I think I would foresee a small cut prior to the election, and then possibly more activity after that before the end of the year. So my prediction would be, I think we're going to come down a half to maybe 3/4 point before 2025.
This might make it so we have the busiest winter real estate market that we've ever seen.
Yeah, maybe.
Because people are going to come out of the woods. I've been waiting to sell their house. Like, a point or 0.5 point lower. I'm going to jump on us.
Do you really think so? I don't think a 0.5 point is going to do that much.
I think there's people are so eager to move on, and the interest rates have been their only reason.
But you got to also keep in mind that that mortgage rates are tied to the Fed rate. Mm-hmm. It's tied to typically closely to the 10-year Treasury, mm-hmm. which is still inverted over the 2-year, which is atypical in an economic environment that's healthy. Right. So when that curve starts flattening or going, uninverted, then I think there's going to be more. I think you're going to see more movement in the mortgage rates that are what we care about as investors. So moving interest rates, I think it's going to have a ripple effect and ultimately will result in lower, but it's not tied to that necessary correlation there.
It'd be interesting to see what happens. My eyes are wide open. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's been interesting too, with listening to some of the political rhetoric on both sides of the aisle here the last couple of weeks, where they've talked about different policy ideas, where it's like both of them are claiming that they are not going to tax tips, and like it's fine, but Trump got all butthurt about Harris coming out and saying she was going to not tax tips, and he's like, that was my idea, and
I think there's about 3 of those that come out recently.
Yeah, well, and it's also interesting too to I don't know, I've just the different podcasts we listen to.
Yeah.
You probably got a lot of the same ones I do, but just hearing the ideas where they're trying to sell the idea and do it plausibly to their constituents or the people they want out voting for them, whereas there's no plan behind it, like, or it's just complete clickbait on what is actually going to happen when they get, it's like tariffs. Like you probably listened to the same podcast I did on that. And I listened to one other one where they were talking about the proposed tariffs and what possible, like devastation it could cause for the countries that we're planning on doing it to, which, namely China, which Trump has called that out as a huge tariff that he's going to levy on China compared to other countries. So it's really interesting to see how this plays out, but my God, I am so ready for this to be over. I mean, how many spam calls do you think you get a day?
Oh man, text messages are the big one for me.
Oh, they're so annoying.
Yeah.
Like I probably get about 12 to 15 calls a day, I would say, just from unrecognized spam, numbers. And then, all the texts.
You know what really annoyed me, and it took a big chunk of my time. I got reached out by this real estate magazine, and seemed extremely legit, and my assistant is like, hey, I vetted this one. They have a magazine out there. They really want to do an interview with you. So I go through it, and the interview is like 45 minutes. And I planned it out my day, went through everything. And then in the end, they're like, okay, so what level of package do you want for your award? We're going to send you a trophy, and then you're going to be featured as a Diamond Premier member for the Nebraska Real Estate magazine. And I'm like, I'm not interested in buying into anything. And if you want to take my story and put it in your magazine, go for it. But I don't need to be. I'm not paying for anything.
What a weird approach.
And then it was like, oh well, we got this package. Oh, and then we got this package, and it started off like $1,500 plus a monthly fee, to have access to different things and get these marketing materials and leads. And then at the end of it, after me saying no 4 times, it was like, oh well, just for $49 a month, we're going to get you this. I go, if I have to buy something to enable for you to put this out there, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Got hung up on. I'm like almost an hour of
Hard
my time,
man.
Hour of my time going through this whole interview process, questions. I mean, it's exhausting. It's like being interviewed on a podcast.
You know what it depends on the type of mood I'm in, but sometimes like it's weird when you have a like I don't have a like designated phone for inbound calls because I don't get that many of them where it can justify it. But like I get calls from numbers I don't recognize all the time, and some of them are motivated sellers or people that are just reaching out to me for real estate purposes.
You got to answer all of them.
Yeah, but sometimes my phone will be like suspected spam or whatever, so I never answer those. It depends on if I'm feeling pretty salty and the guy's like guy or gal that's on the phone like won't let me off. I'll be like, look, how many times does your script tell you that you have to hear no before you let somebody off? Because I'm going to tell you no 4 times right now, or 3, or whatever it takes. I'm not interested.
And removing from your list.
Yeah, taking off your list. The small chance that somebody listening to this is not aware, you can actually go to the National Do Not Call Registry.
Yep.
And look and see if your name or your phone number is on there. And if it is not, add it. Although I will tell you, it probably does almost no good. It seems like they just bounce numbers around. You know what
the deal is, though? You have to redo that every 3 years.
Mine's still on there from 2004.
Do you have to go there and you have to update it every 3 years?
Where did you hear that? I feel like you just make things up and you're calling it fact.
I was so frustrated because in one day I had over 20 calls.
Yeah.
And so I called my system like, get on the National Do Not Call Registry and add my number. And then I saw Jessica, she's like, because she was getting blown up at work and she's a teacher. And she's like, and I told her, it's like, well, I just got done the registry. She's like, well, have John do that for me too. but it takes like 3 months for it to go through.
Huh.
So.
All right. I'm going to look into this. I don't 100% believe you.
Whatever, man. Whatever. Well, guys, thank you for listening to Monday's podcast here. And stay tuned to Wednesday's podcast with Alex Pardo. We just totally just got done recording with him.
Yeah,
and
super fun guy. 800 episodes almost on his own podcast called Flip Empire, which is about obviously real estate investing and transactional real estate, life mindset, all that fun stuff.
I mean, we dig into flipping, we dig into storage units.
Yeah,
we dig into podcasting in general.
Yep.
And just life lessons and mentorship. I mean, he's just a wealth of wisdom, and he started investing when you started investing, but he's my age.
Yeah, he started as a wee tyke of about 36 years old, is that right? No, 26. Yeah. Man, see, I'm old. I can't do math anymore. But no, what I thought was cool is a couple other things. So he started a mastermind group that he ran for about 5 years. That was really, really cool. That he focused on mindset and growth and helping people out and being vulnerable. And helping people through tough times, not just celebrating the victories, but also kind of helping others through challenges. And it started flipping 05. We do have a little bit of a similar background, so it's kind of cool to hear see what he's done in the amount of time that's similar and different to what I've done.
Except his European trip that he went on.
That is true. That one of my big regrets.
So you guys both do have 2 girls. So.
We do. And one cool thing. So this is a little different. We have a lot of our podcast episodes. I wouldn't say, probably 75% of them are for people in the Midwest. We've got some great national folks that we've had on, obviously, but Alex hails from the Miami, Florida area. And that was interesting to hear about the contrast of what it's like in the real estate investing world there compared to, say our neck of the woods or some other markets and how investors act toward each other. So stay tuned for that. It's a pretty humorous story.
I wonder if him and Casper live anywhere near each other.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was down there for a little bit. I don't know. Miami's pretty big, I think. So never know. I thought the whole storage unit conversation we had was really fascinating too. How he approaches lead generation and finds deals, and
we dug deep into that.
Yeah, it was. So if you like storage as an asset class and want to learn more about it, stay tuned for that segment in the episode. And then he also, as he has, I think, education or some type of training or something on that workshop.
A mastermind group just on storage units.
Yeah, just on storage units.
Yep.
And so really good stuff there. Again, Flip Empire, awesome podcast. I caught a couple episodes of that here this week and doing some research for it.
And shout out to Brad Bader for putting us together.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Appreciate you for the hookup. One thing I want to point out, one more thing I want to point out about that episode is he finally gave an alternate name for Buy Box. I don't know if you caught this. Do you remember what he called it?
No.
So he called it his deal avatar. I've been desperately searching for another way to describe what a buy box is because I can't frickin' stand that phrase. But basically, yeah, it's identifying what your ideal deal is. So your deal avatar, what does that look like?
The average person's not going to know what you really mean by saying deal avatar.
Deal avatar, yeah. And everybody knows what an avatar is. I mean, don't you?
I mean,
you know what an avatar is, Ted?
If you came to me like, "What's your deal avatar?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I would.
You couldn't figure that out.
I wouldn't be all on that one. No, so
Aiden, do you know? Aiden knows. See, he's like, "Oh crap, I was playing Galaga."
Aiden, when he said deal avatar, you weren't thinking that he was talking about his deal.
He
box.
wasn't listening.
We can't hear you. Got to talk to the mic.
Oh, he was not prepared. We caught the new producer flat-footed over here. Well, hey, we'll give you a mulligan, buddy. But next time, come prepared because we like spontaneity.
You are the bear.
Yeah, that's right. Stay tuned, guys. This guy is motivated, motivational, genuine. I was totally dialed into his story the whole time we were talking to him. I think he has some really good life lessons to share. And like I said, stay tuned for some good meat potatoes on your business and storage units and flipping and all kinds of fun stuff.
And give us a 5-star review. Appreciate it. Boom.